but were able to designate him as a defensive end instead of a linebacker, which would save them almost $3 million if, in fact, Micah did play on his rookie deal in his fifth year, which would be 2025. He would make $21.3 million as a DN instead of $24 million as a linebacker. CeeDee Lamb obviously was drafted a year ahead of Micah, so he's about to enter his fifth year. So, Keyshawn, how will all this play out for those two?
Well, I think first you look at CeeDee Lamb's situation, and he's a year earlier than Micah, so you might want to get that done. Because you're going to probably wind up, I understand the reports out there that Jerry may or may not redo Dak and extend Dak. I think that they'll do Dak and they'll extend Dak. So you want to redo CD, get him his extension now. Take that 19 or so million, I think it's about $18 million of his fifth-year option. $18 million of fifth-year option that he has that he's going to be playing on. Convert that into signing bonus, move it around, play those money games to get that relief that you need in cap space. The fact that you picked up Micah, you designated him as a defensive end versus a linebacker to save yourself $2.5 million. That's good on the cap, though. That's a lot. Man, you can sign some players with $2.5 million.
But by the way, I thought defensive end would be more valuable than a linebacker because I look at a defensive end as the pass rusher.
I don't know how they.
I don't know
how they do it.
But they look at the Von Millers as stand-up pass rushers, as in linebackers, right? That's how they're doing it.
I don't know how they do it, Skip. I don't know how many times his hand was actually in the ground versus him standing up, moving to the middle, all of those.
If he's flanked out, he puts his hand down usually. But if he's in a A-back, D-back.
He may put his hand down.
Yeah.
But if he removes his hand, they may just say, oh, he's at a linebacker position. I don't know. I don't know how they do it. Whatever the case is, you have time to do Micah. Now, he's not going to be happy. I'm sure he wants to get his money, but they can do him in the summer. They can do him throughout the course of the season. They could also do him during the regular season. Now, I wouldn't be happy if I'm Mike. I understand you're going to pick up our fifth-year option. But I want to get my deal done because I want to get my protection.
Sure.
I want to get my life in order. I understand $20 million, but that's a while from now. You want me to play on $2.5 million right now.
Yeah.
I don't want to do that. I want to get my money. I want my extension to kick in. And they will, I'm sure, address it between the start of training camp toward the end of the season. They're not sitting around saying, well, you got to show us. He's already shown you everything you need to see to make him the highest paid defensive player in the history of the National Football League. He's already shown it to you. So let's get it done.
Not against Green Bay, but other than that.
But there's a lot of people that struggled against Green Bay that played.
Yeah. He had his worst pass rushing stats of his career in that playoff loss.
I believe you, but it's the same situation that you have with your quarterback, Skip. What are you going to do? You're not going to pay Micah Parsons?
No, you got to pay him. Okay. I believe that Jerry will make Dak Prescott play out his final year of his deal, his walk year. And I believe it'll be a prove-it year. I need to see more in the postseason.
If he had the ability to franchise tag him like he did the first time around,
can't. It's over.
I would agree with you.
Okay. I just believe he will.
But you cannot put yourself in a position without a contingency plan in place, and the Cowboys don't have one other than that dude that wears number 4.
Yeah. Well, there's that dude named Trey Lance. Once upon a time, the Shanahans thought he was
Don't say that again, Skip. They cut him or traded him.
Yeah, because somebody fell in their lap.
They traded him for a bologna sandwich and a cigarette.
Not really, but here's the point. I can't address exactly how those cap wizards, Jerry and Stephen Jones and their brain trust, will manipulate their cap. It's possible that even making Dak play out his option, which would force them to face the possibility of having to eat $60 million in dead cap money. Even under that possible scenario, I won't be shocked if they get both CD and Dak done. I'm sorry, CD and Micah done. But here's the point. Last night, I go back and forth in my head. Well, do you need to go ahead and get CD done just because he's a year ahead? Well, sure, that would be the logical. But then I start thinking, most people, as we went into last season, most people would say, the one you don't want to lose is Micah Parsons, right? I'm now to the point where I consider CD at least as valuable as Micah, if not, in a weird way, slightly more valuable than Micah Parsons, because Dak did not take off until CD took off. Remember, CD finally made some waves. He finally went to McCarthy after San Francisco, 42-10.
Oh, you're talking about this year?
Yes. Okay. Remember, after they got romped and stomped at San Francisco on that Sunday night, 42-10. Even McCarthy acknowledged he came in to see me and he was nice about it, but he just said, I need the football. Well, you've been there a million times in your life. And he nicely asked for the football, and they nicely started to give him the football. And as you know, he goes on a 10, 12-game tear where you can make a case even statistically, he's the best receiver in football. And Dak's rise, it was complemented, it was aligned with, it was attached to CD's rise.
But Dak had success prior to those games.
No doubt. But again, Dak had struggled at Arizona, and he'd really struggled because he threw 3 interceptions against San Francisco. And it weirdly felt like they didn't have great connection. I don't know why. But then they reconnected, and off they both went. And I do believe that I didn't used to buy completely into this, but I do believe that a great receiver, and I consider CD a great receiver, but I do believe a great receiver can have a lot to do with a quarterback's rise. If you have one and you have some wavelength with that one that you trust, it's Michael Irvin with Troy. Not that Troy wasn't great in and of himself, but listen, I watched it up close and personal. When Troy was in doubt, he just went to 88, and it wouldn't matter where 88 was. He's just going to tight window throw it, and 88's going to find a way to snatch it out of the sky.
That's true.
Okay? And I'm sure you did that, even though you didn't play with a Troy Aikman.
Really?
But,
thanks for telling me and reminding me.
Okay? But I'm sure you did that for any number of quarterbacks going back to college where, like I love Johnny Manziel when he was at Texas A&M, but now I look back at it, he had this guy named Mike Evans who goes about 6'5" tall,
Evans.
right? And Mike certainly helped Johnny
100%.
100%. Where in his Heisman year, you can throw it up to that big dude. And he's not only big, but he's rangy and fast. And he's got football character where you can trust him to be where he's supposed to be and go make a tough play for you.
But as a receiver, you've got to have a good quarterback, man. Well, you can't just have I understand what you're saying, but as a receiver, you got to be able to have a good quarterback that can put the ball in your universe.
Okay.
I play with a number of them. Okay, you got to have a dude that in your catch radius, he has to be able to put the ball somewhere.
Well, where you can
get fingertips have the ability to go get it.
Sure.
There's many quarterbacks out there that no matter how great the receiver is, at the end of the day, you're going to look bad because the quarterback can't get you football.
Yeah.
Now, did CeeDee Lamb help Dak Prescott 100,000, 50 million%?
He did.
There's no question about it. But Dak Prescott put that ball where he can go get it.
Sure.
CeeDee Lamb, Michael Irvin, Hall of Famer, 3-time Super Bowl champion Michael Irvin. Did you see some of them other quarterbacks he played with? Some of them other dudes, Mike can tell you the first thing, all that twisting and turning and diving it. You don't want to have to do all of that. No. You want somebody that just, in your universe, can zip that thing in there.
Yeah. Okay.
And they got that in Dak Prescott.
Then the biggest shock for me of the whole year was in the first quarter of the Green Bay playoff game, they actually got into it remember, it was the first series, and Dak didn't like how he broke his route off. I don't know exactly what the problem was, but there was a pass over the middle on 3rd and 5-ish, and they weren't on the same page for the first time in maybe a dozen games. And as they went to the sidelines, Dak said something to CD, and CD did not like it and went and sat on the end of the bench and sulked or whatever. He didn't look happy to the point that Mike McCarthy, for the first time in his tenure in Dallas, had to walk to the end of the bench and talk CD back up, try to get him back ready.
Yeah.
Okay.
That happens.
Well, it does, but it hasn't happened with McCarthy, and it hasn't happened with CD, and it hadn't happened with Dak like that.
Yeah, but I don't remember the play exactly. I kind of remember
the first series.
But when you or the quarterback and you're trying to be the leader, you may have talked about something in the locker room and going through our practice, and they did not get on the same page. And whatever Dak said to him, he probably went to the end of the bench thinking, I screwed this up. Or maybe CD said he screwed it up and went to the end of the bench because he didn't feel like hearing no excuse.
Yeah, well, you heard
That
what
happens.
Michael said the next day, Michael Irvin. In his days with Troy, he never crossed Troy. He never responded back. He never tried to play. You know, like
everybody
you just,
approaches it differently, though.
You just say, whatever you say, sir. You know,
everybody approaches it
he's going
differently.
to throw you the sugar. You know,
No, he'll throw you some sugar or not throw you the sugar.
Or not. Right, exactly. But the point was, I got to the point last night where between Micah and CD on pure value to this football team, given where Dak is in his career, CD is really valuable to this team on obviously the offensive side.
They both is real valuable.
Very valuable.
That defense wouldn't be anywhere near as good as it is or was or whatever without Micah on the field.
Yeah.
That's why it's important to maintain him and give him what he's looking for when the time comes. Now, here's the problem that you have. You say Jerry may or may not, who knows what it is. The thing that you don't want to happen is have him hold out, not come to camps, you don't want to create that problem. Yeah. You don't want to have Micah Parsons mad because you're not addressing his situation, and you don't want CD to play on his fifth-year option when he's watching